Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good evening and welcome. My name is Melike Ayan and I'm the live TV reporter with Bloomberg TV Turkey. I'm so pleased and honored to be with you tonight and have the chance to introduce this historical, amazing forum and our guest speakers, and then finally the panel to you. This amazing Caspian Forum is organized by the Caspian Strategy Institute. Tonight, we gather to explore the true economic, political, and strategic potential of the region, the Caspian region, and will define collaborations and partnerships. And Caspian Strategy Institute made this happen. So what is Caspian Strategy Institute? It's an Istanbul-based global think tank whose mission is to create and establish political and economic stability and platform at the very strategically important region, the Caspian region. How do they do it? Well, via forums like this one that you came to. And another forum that is going to be held in Istanbul on December 4th and 5th, and you're all welcome to come. And via the research reports that are the best in its field and sector. Caspian's vision is to become the leading debate, research, and study platform, enhancing positive interdependence and cooperation in the broader Caspian region. If you ask me, they are already the leading debate and research institute. Well, a picture can tell 1,000 words, don't they? And a video can tell 1,000,000. Therefore, now I'll stop, and I'd like to leave you with the introductory descriptive video. But before I leave you with this amazing video, I would like to remind each and every one of you that there are some participants among all of us that will have to go to their home countries. They will have to catch flights. Some of them will have to go to other meetings. That's why I would highly appreciate and kindly request if you could follow the 3 to 4 minute rules. And it is also applicable to the panel. Thank you so much. And here is our introductory video.
The Caspian Strategy Institute is an Istanbul-based think tank with a focus on the Caspian region. The Institute carries out high-quality and independent research by proposing thoughtful, innovative, and strategic ideas that focus on a wide array of issues relating to the Caspian region. As one of the leading think tanks in Turkey, the Caspian Strategy Institute stimulates research through a dynamic program of publications, seminars, conferences, workshops, and educational activities. Through the work of its scholars and analysts, it contributes to the social, political, and economic development of Caspian region countries and is encouraging greater public awareness of Caspian region. With a number of research centers under its umbrella, the Caspian Strategy Institute focuses mainly on energy, as well as international relations, economy, security, transportation, and education. There is also an emphasis on social issues. The Caspian Strategy Institute publishes articles, journals, and analysis such as the Quarterly Caspian Report, consisting of policy papers covering contemporary issues in the Caspian region, taking from the valuable perspectives of internationally recognized practitioners, academics, scholars, and analysts. The Caspian Strategy Institute hosts the annual Caspian Forum as a platform where energy security, transportation, economic, political, and social issues are debated. The Caspian Forum brings together distinguished figures from politics, business, NGOs, academia, and media from around the world, with the Caspian region in full focus. The Caspian Roundtables is a series held in partnership with influential organizations in leading capitals of the world. Issues concerning political, social, and economic affairs of the region are discussed in these roundtable series. Through the publication of the Institute's monthly Hazard World magazine, a wide range of economic, political, social, and cultural issues are covered. The Hazard World magazine also draws attention to public opinion in the region. In addition, the Institute publishes its Caspian Bulletin, which covers the activities of the Institute from the Caspian region agenda. Caspian TV, a web TV platform, presents a timely take on the region with its own news center, which keeps abreast of current events with programs and interviews. Caspian TV also broadcasts original documentaries. The Institute promotes the region's cultural values via its Culture Initiative, while it hosts certificate programs and encourages academic research through its Education Initiative. As the Caspian becomes one of the pivotal regions in the balance of global power, the Caspian Strategy Institute strives to create a comprehensive understanding of the political, economic, and social issues of this vital and diverse region.
Now that I'm taller than before and you can see me better, welcome again. I'd like to tell you, I told you, a video can tell a million words. Now I'd like to introduce you a great visionary, the architect of this forum, a great friend of mine, the bridge between the regions, and the creator of this forum, the General Secretary of the Caspian Strategy Institute, Mr. Haldun Yavaş.
Thank you, Melike. These were great words. What a wonderful cause. What a timely event. Welcome to New York. Welcome to the Caspian Forum. Last December, we had the first Caspian Forum in Istanbul. There was attendance from over 30 countries. Former Defense Secretary of the United States, Robert Gates, Deputy Prime Minister of Turkey, Bekir Bozdağ, Energy Minister of Turkey, Taner Yildiz, and deputy ministers from Georgia and Azerbaijan were amongst the speakers. It was a wonderful first event. Now in New York, during the United Nations General Assembly Week, in the Grand Ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria, we are having the second Caspian Forum. I know that presidents, prime ministers, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and dignitaries who are in New York for United General Assembly meetings have been very busy by the pressing issues and challenges facing today's world. And yet, despite the heavy agendas on the table and countless meetings, we find here at the Caspian Forum the attendance of foreign ministers, dignitaries, academics, companies, media, and institutions. Your presence amongst the clutter of these competing agendas and global issues, I believe, speaks louder than my words. This visibility and timeliness of the Southern Gas Corridor and its contribution to European energy security, which is the theme of Caspian Forum New York. This is an exciting time for all of us, especially for those who have been part of this journey. All developments occurred in the last 12 months, and fast-moving progress that has built up realization of Southern Gas Corridor and its first step, the Trans-Anatolian Pipeline. During the UN General Assembly Week, discussion and focus on the Southern Gas Corridor, the Trans-Anatolian Pipeline, and the Trans-Adriatic Pipeline at the highest levels of governments has been another encouraging sign. The Southern Corridor is much more than just a notion. Rather, it is something concrete. What does this all really mean in this context of Europe? The Southern Corridor is projected to help Europe's vast and growing energy needs and to diversify its energy supply sources. Europe produces 2% of the global natural gas volume, but consumes around 17% of it. Depending on future economic growth, developments in energy efficiency, and how intensively other energy sources are in use, and as domestic production continues to go down in Europe, the demand for imports will rise to 80%. With this increased demand, Europe will continue to receive natural gas from existing suppliers, either by pipeline or in the form of LNG. Some current suppliers may be affected by the changing dynamics of energy needs, such as the increased demand from Asia-Pacific countries and the impact of political events which affect production levels and investments. The Southern Corridor has long been on the EU's agenda. Now, with TANAP, with Trans-Anatolian Pipeline and Trans-Adriatic Pipeline, it is becoming a reality. Regardless of the changing dynamics of energy sources and future trends, the Southern Gas Corridor will continue its importance on the geopolitical and energy security agenda. In closing, I would like to convey special thanks to you all for your presence this evening. I'm already excited to look forward to the next Caspian Forum in Istanbul, which will be held on December the 5th, and remarkable progress towards the realization of Southern Gas Corridor. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Haldun. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Elshad Nasirov, Vice President of SOCAR.
Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a big honor for me to bring, together with the Strategy Institute, Caspian Strategy Institute, the Caspian Forum to New York. I'm afraid that not everyone in this auditorium has ever been to Baku, so it's good for us to bring something from the Caspian. Of course, it's better and easier to bring a forum to New York rather than gas to Europe. It will take much more money and much more efforts. But together with our shareholders in Chardonnay's consortium, we are looking forward to bringing gas to Europe. It's not a coincidence that we have this Caspian Forum during the General Assembly session in New York. In New York, people from different countries are united to bring some ideas how to make our world better. In Azerbaijan, our humble contribution to the world history was the inauguration or introduction of the hydrocarbon civilization. Azerbaijan, for those who have never been in Baku or in the region or is not in the oil and gas industry, I think it will be interesting to know that it was the first industrial well drilled in Azerbaijan in 1848, and everything related to the oil and gas history that happened for the first time in the world mostly happened in Baku, Azerbaijan. The first ever pipeline was constructed from Baku to Batumi in the Caspian, in the Black Sea coast of Georgia in the beginning of the 20th century. The first ever oil tanker was constructed in Sweden and brought to the Caspian Sea to work for the transportation of crude oil. In the beginning of the 20th century, Baku was providing 50% of the world production of oil. And it was not coincidence that if you look at the fluctuations of the world prices of oil, the highest peak in the oil prices in the real dollar value happened not in 2008, not in 1992 or 1979 or 1967. The highest peak was in 1920 when Bolsheviks seized Baku. In 1945 we were producing approximately 80% of the Soviet production of oil, and that was our contribution to the Allied victory against Nazis. And now we are thinking about constructing something great, a gas pipeline from Baku to the European Union. I think that it's a very known fact in the United Nations that 44 countries out of all countries in the world are landlocked. And out of these 44 countries, 3 of them are Caspian littoral states. And all these 3 countries are more or less serious producers of oil and gas. Therefore, to bring the production to the consumption, we need to construct pipelines. Sometimes not very expensive, but this time we're thinking about something very expensive. On the 13th of January 2011, European Commission President Barroso signed the joint agreement, the joint declaration with the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan and Ilham Aliyev, stating that Azerbaijan is a substantial contributor to and enabler of the Southern Gas Corridor. And now, after several years of negotiations and hard work, we are in one step from inaugurating the Southern Gas Corridor, bringing the hydrocarbons from the Caspian region to the European countries. And of course, this will be the first flow, which will be followed by several other fields in Azerbaijan and other countries, not only in the Caspian, to provide additional flows of gas to the European Union. An agreement of strategic importance was signed between the governments of Turkey and Azerbaijan about the construction of the Trans-Anatolian pipeline, and we really appreciate the efforts of the government of Turkey to make this project possible. Several weeks ago, a selection of the European pipeline, Trans-Adriatic pipeline, took place. And now, after signing the gas agreements with the European buyers, we're again in one step from the real physical construction of the pipeline. But without the Shah Deniz consortium, without the Shah Deniz field, the gas corridor from the Caspian to the European Union would not have been possible. So therefore, Shah Deniz is the crucial project for the Southern Gas Corridor. Therefore, I would like to give the floor to Alistair Cook, the Vice President of BP Azerbaijan, responsible for the Shah Deniz consortium. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nasiro. Your role in the region is very important, and we appreciate the hard work you're doing. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Alistair Cook, AGT Region President, Shah Deniz Development Vice President, BP. Oh, you're right here.
Thank you, and good evening, ministers, your excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. In the 19th century, Azerbaijan first provided energy security to Europe through its production of kerosene. Then, in the 20th century, under the leadership of President Haydar Aliyev, and with the support of President Clinton and the leaders of Georgia and Turkey, Azerbaijan provided its crude oil to global markets through the BTC pipeline. Now, in the 21st century, Azerbaijan can underpin energy security in Europe through its natural gas resources. And just last week, in Baku, companies from countries across Europe gathered to sign giant gas sales contracts that will see 10 billion cubic meters of gas every year sent to Europe for 25 years. These contracts are giant. Worth around $100 billion, they represent perhaps the largest single package of contracts signed in the history of our industry. And everything about the Shah Deniz 2 project is giant. The field itself, perhaps appropriately for this forum, is almost exactly the same size and shape as Manhattan Island. And that field will be covered by 500 kilometers, around 300 miles, of underwater pipelines to develop that gas and to extract it. Moving above the water, we have 3,500 kilometers, around 2,000 miles, of pipelines from the heart of the Caspian Sea to the heart of Europe. The project itself will cost well over $40 billion, and we believe that during its construction, it can create around 30,000 new jobs. But a project of this magnitude cannot be developed by one country or one company alone. It requires partnerships. Partnerships between consumers and producers, partnerships between countries and companies, partnerships between all those speaking here today. And it's these partnerships that has underpinned Azerbaijan's provision of energy security for 3 centuries. That's why I'm so pleased to be part of this gathering here today. That's why, on behalf of BP, we're so privileged to be part of this important project. Thank you very much.
Well, we are very pleased that you're here, Mr. Cook. Now, Excellency Mr. Ditmir Busati, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Albania, please welcome to the stage.
This music reminds me the swords, but I just have a little speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the Southern Corridor concept came to life from European need to diversify the sources of natural gas supply. It will also expand and enhance regional cooperation in the energy sector and help create an integrated and competitive energy market. In this regard, the selection of TAP project was very welcome and one of the most important developments, not only for my country, but for the whole region. Without going too much into details about the project you all must be familiar with, I would like to focus more on why this project is important for my country. TAP will diversify country's energy sources, which is very much needed. Currently, the electricity production in Albania is highly based on hydropower, accounting for 97% of the total production. With TAP, the country will see a meaningful process of gasification, which will have an indisputable impact on the economy, energy sustainability, as well as energy security of Albania. The investments of about 1.5 billion euros represent an economic boost for Albania. It will create some 15,000 new jobs in Albania only, and it will reach about 7 million families once completed. It will stimulate employment in industries directly or indirectly related to the project. It will have an impact in other areas as well, such as public services, transport, communication, and financial services. And in terms of our foreign policy, this important project would lead to closer integration in our region, which is one of our priorities. Because of TAP, Albania will be in position to satisfy its needs for natural gas, but also to act as a hub facilitating gas supply to the region. We have already signed agreements with TAP for the development of an internal gas market and the implementation of Ionian Adriatic Pipeline, a regional project intended to connect TAP with existing gas network of Croatia through Albania, Montenegro, and Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we wish to see Kosovo included in this network. TAP and the app are considered part of the Energy Community Gas Rings, a project that involves all countries of the Western Balkans and which is being developed under the Treaty of the Energy Community. We view TAP as a support for Europe in achieving its strategic objective to secure and diversify natural gas supplies and to increase its ability to meet its growing needs of energy. It would increase energy security and diversification of gas supplies for European markets. It would open a new southern gas corridor for Europe and a marketplace for natural gas from the Caspian Sea and Middle East regions. And last but not least, TAP would connect existing and planned networks to transport natural gas in Eastern Europe with gas system in Western Europe in the most efficient and economical way. We look forward to the implementation of this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. I'd like to invite Excellency Mr. Zlatko Lagumdiza, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is my great honor and privilege to be here in New York in this very place and participating in promotion of something that not so long time ago did not look so real. It was, I think, about over 100 days ago when Vesna was hosting us in Dubrovnik. A few days after I was with Elmar in Baku, talking about this project. At that time, that looked like, well, to be honest to you, we were all so assured that we are going for the right thing. But at the same time, we're kind of frightened because the logical things always don't fly in our region. That's the reason why this is kind of paradigm shift, that something which was so logical, so reasonable to be chosen, done. It was in the end done. TAP is something which we are promoting here, but I'm sure that I'm not the only one who will say a few words about IAP. And this is about maybe a good moment to say that we should start open the process of putting together TAP and IAP. And if we were in Istanbul, if we were in Turkey, probably we would coin the new word type as a combination of TAP and IAP, and that would be reasonably productive. The most important thing is that that would be the truth. And I think that this overall project can make sense and will come to achieve what Elshad and Alistair was talking about when you were talking about the potentials of this project. Of course, for a country like Bosnia and Herzegovina, there are so many reasons why we are so proud and expecting that this is going to be our reality in a reasonable future. I'm not only talking about with the numbers, you can show a lot of things. A country like us, with this project, we may be significantly strategically diversified. With this project and project like this, we can, even to the studies, very pessimistic studies of World Bank, the country like Bosnia and Herzegovina, which has already diversified gasification in the capital, Sarajevo, and some major industry premises, is going to need about 7 or 8 times bigger gas consumption in the near future. We can talk about scaling down the price, about competitiveness. We can say that today in Bosnia and Herzegovina we are paying 30 and 50% bigger price tag than in our neighboring countries, Serbia and Croatia. There are a lot of reasons why you can explain that with a logic. But I would ask you that to look at this project from a completely different perspective. A few days ago, one very dear friend to me was pointing out to me one very interesting book and a little theory that some of you, I'm sure, know, called Golden Circle, that says when people who are making big projects and projects that make a change, there are 3 circles. Outside one saying, what do you do? Inner one says, why, how do you do it? And a very core circle says why you do it. In theory, it's very simple. The great reformers, from Steve Jobs, the Wright brothers, and Martin Luther King, they flipped the order. They were first going to find the answer why. Why? And then they were going for the answer how, and on the end what. I think in order to promote this project, we have to be talking more about why. And our golden argument is answering the question why. It is not about technology, it is not about economy, it is about the future of the region. It is about cohesion of the region, technological, economical, and social cohesion. And that's what region needs. So my very humble plea to you is every day ask yourself why. Why do we do it? More we ask ourselves why we do it, more arguments we will see that we are on the right track. We are not Wright brothers, we are not Steve Jobs, we are not Martin Luther King, but their lives and their mottos and their credos from why to how and what is something that moves the globe and civilization forward. The region needs to be moved, and this is one of the things that can help us to move the region in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Excellency, we want the golden circle, we want you in there, and we want everybody in this golden circle. So I can sit here and listen to each and every great established leader of yours for hours, and I look forward to all the speeches, but I will, again, kindly remind you the 3 to 4 minute rule, if you allow me to. So here I'd like to invite Excellency Ms. Vesna Pusic, First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign and European Affairs of Croatia.
Maybe I can do it without the soap. I think that you see me above the lectern. I was sort of insulted here by the assumption that I need to step on a stool. No, I'm joking. This is the story of my life. But thank you very much. I'm actually very excited to be here, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it's a sign of how the world is shrinking and how we are becoming very interdependent and need to work with each other. I want to commend the Caspian Strategy Institute. It was a great idea. I think it is also a very important move to use this opportunity when so many people meet in New York to discuss the world affairs, to bring in something that is certainly international relations of the future, and I would say also very much international relations and foreign policy of today. And this is energy security. Europe needs diversified suppliers, diversified routes, and diversified sources. It needs it for its stability, it needs it for its future, and it needs it for its freedom. And maybe it's not automatically visible, but it actually has been proven over and over again that creating an environment in which you have multiple sources, in which you have multiple suppliers, in which you have multiple routes, makes the world safer. And by making this choice of the top route, I think you've contributed to stability and long-term security of an important region of the world, which is called Europe. I think you've made an important business decision, and I know that business people don't like this very much, but you have also made a political decision, and it's an important decision. It's a decision that does contribute to stability. I'm here to plead for something that is, I think, a logical consequence of the decision to bring in gas into Southern Europe, through this southern route that will supply all of Europe, but definitely Central Europe. I'm here to plea to continue this project through the Ionian Adriatic pipeline, something that would go from Albania up the eastern coast of the Adriatic, that will go up through Montenegro and Bosnia-Herzegovina and into my own country, Croatia, but also through Croatia to Austria and Hungary and other countries of Central Europe, that could include also all the other countries of that region, because it does in a microcosm the same thing that you've done with your decision to construct the Trans-Adriatic pipeline. I will not take up much more of your time here, but you will see me over and over again and again in all your debates, because I will fight for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency Pusik. The need for the region's stability, future, and freedom is as tall as the mountains. Now I'd like to welcome His Excellency Nicolo Poposki.
Dear colleagues, I'm particularly happy to be part of this important energy forum. Today here we are also sending a clear message that the Southeast Europe is identified as an important region on the Euro-Asian Energy Board. The topic of today, the Southern Gas Corridor and the European energy security, is an ever-emerging topic, gradually gaining momentum in the last 10 years. The EU, as one of the biggest energy markets, is striving to secure its energy supply. The countries of the Caspian region, home to some of the largest energy sources in the world, are striving to secure their energy exports. This is the right combination for energy cooperation, I believe. Speaking from the regional context in the Balkans, we all strive for economic growth, sustainable development, social welfare, but stable and uninterrupted energy supply is a precondition for that. First, it will help to develop many of the gasification projects that have been in the pipeline for decades and are not implemented yet, for the reason of no major transit pipelines existing so far. Second, it will make the region more competitive and attractive for investors. From the perspective of the Republic of Macedonia, my country is no exception to that rule, as we are highly dependent on energy imports. 30% of our electricity consumption is imported, and we are 100% dependent on gas and oil imports. Our energy policy are founded on basic principles such as reliability of energy supply, sustainability, and competitiveness. As economists tend to repeat, especially after the last financial crisis, projections are generally associated with uncertainties. If one thing is certain, that is the fact that this project will bring growth and more supply certainty for all of its participants, and we are happy to be part of it. Thank you very much.
The Southern Gas Corridor, it contributes to the energy security of Europe, but how? I will not make the definition and description, I'll leave it to the video.
Caspian natural gas from Azerbaijan's Shah Deniz field will soon reach European consumers. This is a major success in diversifying European energy needs through the Southern Energy Corridor. The Southern Energy Corridor has been envisioned to bring vast Caspian hydrocarbons to the Western and global markets. Foundations of the Southern Energy Corridor were laid. Azerbaijan was the first country in the energy-rich region at the crossroads of Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia to open Caspian hydrocarbon resources to the West. 2 decades ago, on September 20th, 1994, with the deal of the century, among 13 energy companies from 8 countries, with the support of the USA, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Georgia, signed an agreement on the second largest pipeline in the world, Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan, in 1998.
Wise energy development can strengthen the independence of the newly independent states around the Caspian, helping them to stand on their feet and shape their own destiny. And it can open a commercial and political bridge between Central Asia and the West.
Thus, the first stage of the Southern Energy Corridor was completed. World's oil and capital markets met non-OPEC energy resources from Azerbaijan. After the realization of the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan, the Southern Energy Corridor became more about transporting Caspian gas to Europe. European demand for energy increases day by day. Domestic production is in decline. Europe's economic engine, Germany, is decreasing its use of nuclear energy gradually. The UK is following the same route for coal. The most promising solution appears to be natural gas. The share of natural gas in European energy mix will reach 30% by 2030. The implementation of the Southern Energy Corridor continued with the Trans-Anatolian Pipeline project, TANAP, to bring Caspian gas to Europe. The project came to realization with strong leadership and commitment of Azerbaijan and Turkey, with critical support from the EU and US. TANAP will deliver Shah Deniz natural gas to the Turkish-Greece border. From that point, it will be the Trans-Adriatic Pipeline, TAP, to carry Azerbaijani and additional Caspian gas to Italy and further into Europe. Gaining momentum with TANAP, the Southern Energy Corridor project will become a strategic asset in European energy security.
Plus, there's natural gas in the Caspian and in Central Asia. They'd like to sell it, and Europe would like to buy it. But first, they need to build pipelines. And that's the goal of a project called the Southern Corridor, which would stretch across the European continent. The United States has been an active partner to all those participants to help move this project to fruition.
Thanks to the Southern Gas Corridor, Europe will receive secure and alternative natural gas supplies. The Southern Energy Corridor concept is a modern Silk Road, interconnecting countries and people from different regions and establishing the adequate framework necessary for encouraging trade, multi-directional exchange of know-how, technologies, and experience. The Southern Energy Corridor will turn into a peace project, which will contribute to sustainable development and collaboration in the region. As the Southern Energy Corridor stretches from Caspian to Europe, this is a manifestation of what can be accomplished by working together in the example of Azerbaijan and Turkey to realize a positive and shared strategic vision serving for economic development and prosperity in the region.